The year is 1296. King Edward I of England, the ruthless Hammer of the Scots, casts a long shadow over the land of Scotland. He sits upon the English throne, a monarch with an insatiable appetite for power. Welcome to Cryptic Mystic Vault, where we unravel the secrets of ancient mysteries.
I covet Scotland, its rich lands and its proud people. I seek to crush them under my iron heel. I see myself as their rightful overlord.
The Scots, a people fiercely proud of their heritage and independence, chafe under this foreign yoke. Whispers of rebellion, like embers in the wind, begin to flicker across the glens and mountains. Edward's oppression had ignited a fire in the hearts of the Scots, a fire that burned for freedom. Their ancient liberties were trampled upon. Their nobles were forced to swear fealty to a foreign king. The very soul of Scotland cried out for a champion, a hero to rally against the English tyrant. It was a time of fear and uncertainty, yet even in the darkest hours, hope flickered like a candle in the wind. The spirit of the Scots, much like the ancient Pictish symbols carved into their stones, proved impossible to erase. It was a spirit that Edward would underestimate at his peril, for the winds of change were blowing and a storm was brewing on the horizon. Across Scotland, a spirit of defiance began to stir. From the highlands to the lowlands, resentment of English rule simmered. The common folk, the farmers and fishermen, the blacksmiths and the weavers, all shared a burning desire for freedom. They yearned for a leader, someone to unite the fractured clans, someone to stand against the might of Edward's armies.
In the taverns and around village hearths, stories were whispered of a growing resistance. Tales of daring raids against English patrols, of supplies spirited away from under the noses of the occupiers, began to spread like wildfire. The English, for all their might, could not crush the spirit of a people determined to be free.
And then a name began to be spoken, first in hushed tones, then with increasing boldness. William Wallace, a man of the people, a warrior forged in the fires of resistance, emerged from the shadows. His name would become a beacon of hope, a rallying cry for a nation yearning to break free from the chains of oppression. William Wallace was no nobleman born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was a man of the land, his heart beating with the rhythm of Scotland itself. Born in Elderslie, his early life was steeped in the lore and traditions of his people. He learned the ways of the forest, the skills of a warrior, and the importance of freedom.
Wallace was said to be a giant of a man, his physical strength matched only by his unwavering courage. But it was his burning passion for justice, his unwavering belief in the right of his people to be free, that truly set him apart. The murder of his wife by English soldiers ignited a firestorm within him. Driven by grief and rage, I struck back at the English with a fury that sent shockwaves through the land.
His name, whispered at first, soon echoed through the glens and valleys of Scotland. Men, inspired by his courage and his unwavering commitment to freedom, flocked to his banner. Wallace was more than just a warrior. He was a charismatic leader, capable of uniting the disparate clans of Scotland under a common cause. He possessed a keen strategic mind and an innate understanding of the land that would prove crucial in the battles to come. For Wallace, this was not just a fight for land or power, it was a fight for the very soul of Scotland. As Wallace rallied the Scots, King Edward, enraged by this defiance, dispatched a formidable army northwards under the command of John de Warenne, Earl of Surrey. Their objective to crush the rebellion and teach the Scots a lesson they would never forget. The English army, confident in its superior numbers and equipment, marched towards Stirling, where Wallace and his forces had taken up a strategic position near a narrow wooden bridge spanning the River Forth. The bridge at Stirling was a choke point, a narrow passage over the treacherous waters of the Forth. Wallace, with the wisdom of a seasoned warrior, recognized the advantage this gave him. He knew that if the English were allowed to cross the bridge en masse, his smaller force would be overwhelmed. He needed to lure the English into a trap, a place where their superior numbers would be rendered meaningless. The English, blinded by arrogance and a belief in their own invincibility, fell for Wallace's trap. They began to cross the bridge, their heavy armor and weaponry weighing them down. It was a fatal mistake, one that would be etched in the annals of history. For on that fateful day, the very ground itself would rise up against them. The air crackled with tension as the first English ranks, their armor glinting in the late summer sun, cautiously made their way onto the narrow wooden bridge. Wallace waited, his eyes cold and calculating, until a sizable portion of the English army had crossed. Then, with a roar that echoed across the river, the Scots attacked.
The Scots, wielding axes, swords and spears, surged forward with the fury of a Highland storm. They fell upon the English trapped on the bridge, hewing them down, their screams swallowed by the clash of steel and the roar of the river.
The bridge, unable to bear the weight of so many men and horses, began to groan and buckle.
Panic spread through the English ranks as they realized the deadly trap they had walked into. Those who could attempted to retreat, only to find their escape blocked by the press of men behind them. The bridge, its timbers splintering, finally gave way, plunging scores of English soldiers into the churning waters below. The Battle of Stirling Bridge was a resounding victory for the Scots, a testament to their courage and their will to fight for their freedom. The English, their ranks shattered, their arrogance humbled, were routed. Thousands lay dead on the battlefield or drowned in the river, their armor weighing them down like stones.
The victory sent shockwaves throughout Scotland and beyond. It was a victory that defied all odds, a victory that proved that even the mightiest army could be defeated. The common folk, who had endured so much under English rule, dared to believe that freedom might be within their grasp.
The spirit of Scotland, which Edward had sought to crush, had been rekindled. From the ashes of oppression, a new sense of nationhood arose, forged in the fires of battle and the blood of heroes. The name of William Wallace, the commoner who had dared to challenge a king, became synonymous with Scottish resistance, his victory at Stirling Bridge a beacon of hope for generations to come. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing discoveries and thrilling adventures into the past.